We are resuming our podcast after a long time, and I just happened to meet a celebrity in my yoga class, and then I looked her up, and she's an actual princess. You guys have a treat. You have a princess on our cybersecurity podcast. And yeah, Sarah, anything else you would like to say in your introduction?
No, I love that we met in yoga and you said you have a podcast and I said, "Listen, I understand with podcasts it's always great to connect with all different kinds of people from all different backgrounds." So,
Yeah,
I'm excited to be here with you. So, thanks for having me.
great, great. So, Sarah, Princess Sarah, what do you currently do?
That's a
And
great question. What
hmm,
do I currently do?
yeah,
A lot of things. I'm a speaker
okay.
and I speak on leadership, empowerment, and creating a culture of belonging. So I do a lot of different speaking around that area and also health and wellness. And I speak mainly at universities and in corporate America.
Oh, wow. So, what is your message?
So it depends on the organization and what they're looking for. But
Hmm.
very often, if people want to talk about leadership, I go into the conversation around leadership and use my family in West Africa as an example. My family running a chiefdom of roughly 70,000 for a very long time and talking about leadership there, leadership in the country that we've done. And I also talk about, for example, when you're a leader, it's not just about dictating orders, but actually inspiring people to follow you or empowering others to be leaders as well. So I talk about a lot of different things. So leadership is one lane that I talk in. Sometimes I'm speaking to sales teams. Sometimes I'm speaking to, like, for example, I was speaking at Oklahoma State University not too long ago, and they wanted me to talk about service because along with my brother and I, we run a nonprofit that we've run for almost 20 years, doing work in Sierra Leone, West Africa, which is where my family's from. And
Nice.
we've been doing work in public health, education, technology, female empowerment, and financial literacy.
Wow. Do you think, a side question, do you think there's a lot of future in Africa that has not been tapped yet?
Yeah, there's a huge future. There's so many minerals, natural resources. The whole continent has just one of the youngest populations in the world, from my understanding. I've talked to a lot of different people about, there are a lot of up and coming young people who are very innovative and excited. And I think there's a lot of opportunities there to work together with other countries and to explore. Now, I can't speak to the whole continent as a whole because my family's from Sierra Leone, which is a
Hmm.
small country in West
Hmm.
Africa. But there are a lot of wonderful things happening on the continent as a whole. And I think very often we just get this negative news and stereotypes all the time and don't really know the beauty and the power of the continent.
Nice. Well, I hope I can visit Sierra Leone and say
Yeah.
I know your princess.
Yes.
Um, Now, what kind of conversations do you have with the sales team?
It depends what sales teams are looking for, but a lot of times I'm talking about listening to learn rather than just listening to respond. How do we really learn from people what they're looking for rather than just getting the result we're looking for?
Mm,
Very often we're listening to people and we're getting ready to respond right away. We're not even really listening to what's being asked or told to us. And it's just the way sometimes our brains work. And it really takes time to process and get grounded and really listen to people and understand what they're asking for, what they're looking for, because there could be a new level of things that you could even provide for them if you're really listening to their needs and wants.
is there any specific technique they can use other than go on mute?
Well, I think one of the things is ask them to share back to them what you've heard them say. Like, for example, you just said, is there anything that we could, is there any technique rather than just going on mute? So I'm actually sharing back to you what you said to make sure I got it clear that you felt heard. And also they can say, well, actually, I want to know this too. So when you
Mm.
actually repeat back to someone what they've shared with you, it has them feel heard. And you're also verifying, did I get what you're saying correctly? That's one of
Wow.
the things that's really helpful.
I'm going to try that technique.
Yeah, try it. Try it on.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. Okay. So what are you doing today?
So today, what am I doing? I just met some wonderful people. I just had lunch with them at Jones on Third,
Mm.
a mother and daughter from Senegal.
Oh,
And
wow.
they actually are from Paris by way of Senegal. So I
Hmm.
met with them, which was wonderful, and talking about both all of us, our work in West Africa, along with our work in the entertainment industry. And I went to hot yoga this morning, which is where I know
Sure.
you from.
Yeah.
Um,
Hmm.
and yeah, just doing meetings and getting organized.
Wow, great. Seems like you encourage people a lot. Uh,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
And I also have a podcast called Modern Royalty Podcast, where which I'm also working on something else I was doing today, where I am interviewing royalty from around the world. So learning about people's cultures, histories, traditions. So I have interviewed a lot of princesses.
Oh,
And additionally, I've interviewed people who are royal in their own field, people who are experts, or I call royalty in their own field. So I've also interviewed some different people in the entertainment industry who are doing big movies or who have been in the entertainment industry for a long time.
wow.
Yeah, it's
Um,
fun.
I can connect you with somebody who you may want to interview for this. I'll send you my
Ooh.
information after this.
Is it royalty, like royalty in another country, or is it top secret? You have to tell me later.
Is it royalty or just a thing that they're royal? If it's the second category, that would be me. But if it's the first category, actually, I know someone who was also a princess but had to leave their country at a
Oh
young age.
wow.
So,
Oh wow. Oh, I definitely want to know more about that. I find
yeah.
that
And she
very
also has an
interesting.
entertainment background. So,
Yeah. Oh, that's
great.
interesting.
Yeah. All right. Can you tell us about your first job?
My first job that I ever had.
Hmm.
Okay, let me think about this. My first job, actual job, not just like jobs around the house as a kid growing up.
I mean,
My first real job was I used to, gosh, let me think. I actually did worked at a candle store for a
oh,
period of time,
mm,
and that was probably, oh, but actually before that, I
hmm.
actually did work. First job is I volunteer work with Oxfam and when I lived in Cambridge, England.
Oh, I know
I
about
was
Oxfam. Yeah.
Yeah, I did work. When I think about it, I was 14 and my dad who raised me, my parents who adopted me, my dad's a neuroanatomist, the study of the brain and spinal cord.
Oh,
So he
wow.
was doing research in Cambridge. So we moved from the United States to live there for a period of time. And I remember working slash volunteering at Oxfam. And people would bring in clothes and we'd sort them and we'd sell them and give money to all different projects that Oxfam was doing.
Wow.
Yeah, that's the first job that I remember doing.
That's great. How different is that from your current position or the current work that you do?
That's a great question because I never thought about this correlation because I as a speaker, I'm interested in sharing with people, inspiring them, uplifting people, and also talking about how do we work well together? How do we support each other?
Hmm.
Um, how are we leaders? How do we create a space where people feel very comfortable and feel like they belong? And I run a nonprofit doing work in Sierra Leone, West Africa, doing different work that's service based. And I guess connected with Oxfam, it was the same kind of thing thinking about, okay, let's raise money for different projects to support community. One of the things that my mom always said to me is that if someone in another country or even in our neighborhood
Hmm.
is going through challenges or dealing with a hard time, she always would say it impacts all of us.
I
And
agree.
one of the things that I love is for my mom and what she taught me, both of my parents for that matter, but definitely my mom always instilled in that we're not all separate living in our own microcosms, that we're really all one and we're connected.
Right.
And when we forget about that, then it becomes just about us, just about the I rather than the we.
Hmm.
And so I think even working at Oxfam at 14 was thinking about how can people donate clothes, give things that actually are going to raise money, people who need clothes that are inexpensive, and then raise money for different projects and funds and feeding people and so on. So I think it's actually all connected now that I think about it. I never actually thought about that. No one's actually asked me this question before.
Wow,
So,
no.
yeah. And I've
Yeah.
been interviewed a lot. So, thank you for that. Thank you for that.
No, that's great. I think sometimes we tend to forget that. And it's like we know in theory, but how much do we practice
Right.
also in reality? Are we
Exactly.
just concerned about our neighbors taking up the parking spot, or
Yeah.
are we concerned about, I don't know.
Making sure our neighbors are okay, or how do we work together? We can,
Yeah,
yeah, exactly.
yeah. Cool, cool. Awesome. I love that. I must. Okay, the next question is, it's like a nugget of wisdom, right? But I would
Mm.
rather have you come to it from a mistake or something, like a stumbling block you ran into from which you learned some life lesson.
A stumbling block that I've run into that I've learned a life lesson. I usually try to go to the first thing that comes to my mind. However, I feel like there might be one that's could be more profound or something profound. Like that's what my thought is. But one of the things is that when things don't work out
Mm,
the way you thought they were going to, that maybe there's another way that will show up that's even more incredible than you had ever imagined. And sometimes we think when things don't work out, we get upset. We feel like we've failed. We feel like we're wrong or not enough, whatever the case may be. But one of the things that I've learned is that there are new possibilities, there are new opportunities that can show up, and also we can talk to other people and bring them on board to create something. For example, I co-wrote a book called A Princess Found, and it's a memoir. Actually, I have it right here. It's funny. I gave some copies
that's awesome.
of the book to a place where I spoke. So I was signing copies and mailing them out.
Wow.
And this is a memoir about my life, my family's life, being adopted, growing up in West Virginia, and then going to West Africa to meet my birth family and the tribe, and then
Mhm.
taking my parents over so everyone could meet my birth family and the family and my parents who raised me, right? But when I had the opportunity to write the book, I wanted to have Dr. Maya Angelou write the foreword.
Oh,
And
no way.
right. And so I had this amazing opportunity
Mm,
to speak in this speaking series called the Unique Live Speaking Series in Canada. This is such a cool story.
yeah.
It's like a fun story. It's kind of like, for me, it's kind of surreal that
Hmm.
this happened. So, as a speaker, and I'll get to your question about a stumbling block. So,
Yeah.
remind me to stay on track.
Hmm.
But just to give you a segue, I had this opportunity to speak in Canada. And my speaking manager called me and said, Ellen Johnson Sirleaf just canceled the president of Liberia. Are
Okay.
you available? And I was on the phone like, wait a second. You want me to replace the president of Liberia? And I said, I
Wow.
really don't talk about politics. That's not my lane per se. And he said, no, no, no. It's really to talk about your life, your story, finding your roots in West Africa, your adoption, really your journey. And I said, okay, let me get back to you. And I hung up the phone. I was like, oh my gosh, like sometimes
Mm,
they say God doesn't give us more than we can handle, right?
hmm.
Or whatever people believe in. But for
Right.
me, I was like, wow, okay, God, this is a
Hmm.
big thing to step into. And I said, okay, I want to do this. So I called him back. I said, I'm available. And I flew to speak and replace the president of Liberia to 2,000 women in Toronto, Canada. And it was life altering. And I said to them, who are the other people speaking in this women's speaking series? And this was probably 15 years ago. So it was Jane Fonda, Jane Goodall, Caroline Kennedy, Carol Burnett,
Oh, wow.
Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, but she canceled, Dr. Maya Angelou.
Wow.
And I was blown away by this opportunity. And actually, her canceling changed my life. Like she gave me an opportunity as a result of her canceling. And
Wow.
I had this wonderful opportunity speaking, but then I also got to meet Dr. Maya Angelou.
Hmm.
And it was life altering for me. And I later reached out and said, I'm writing a book. And when we went to dinner, six of us, and she was giving me pointers. We hadn't, my writing partner, Tracy Trivis, and I had not written this book yet.
Right.
We were working on it. We were in the process. It
Hmm.
wasn't complete. And she gave me so many nuggets of wisdom. She said, Sarah, you have to share your truth no matter what anybody else thinks.
Hmm.
And that's another thing I've learned. Like we can both look at the same thing and I see it one way and you see it a different way, right? And
Yeah.
that's part of the world. But for the
Yeah.
book,
Hmm.
speaking your truth, I was holding up the publishing of the book because I was waiting for Dr. Angelou to get back to me when she was alive, of course, about
Hmm.
the possibility of writing the foreword. And she was traveling, she was speaking, she was so busy and we were holding off. And then I was excited, like, wow, I'm able to get Dr. Maya Angelou. I'm so excited. I'm so proud of myself. And then she's like, her team was like, I'm sorry, she's not going to have time to read it. She's in the midst of traveling. Um, she had some health stuff going on, so she wasn't able to do it. And I was so heartbroken
Mm.
because we had delayed the publishing of the book. All these things were going on. And I was really upset and felt like I had failed. And I was mad at myself.
Mm.
And I realized that when we, and that's just one example of like being frustrated that something doesn't work. And then
Right.
I realized, oh, I don't need Dr. Maya Angelou to write the foreword. There are other people who can be part of this book. It
Hmm.
doesn't mean that I held up the process and there's something bad or wrong. Like it's okay. And I
Hmm.
think sometimes in life, that's like a small example. But I think there are times in life when we go after something and we don't get it and we feel like we failed. And sometimes we give up. And I went to West Africa to find my birth father. I didn't know if I'd find him. I didn't know if he'd want to meet me. I was really scared, but I decided to do it anyway. And it went beautifully, right? So sometimes things work out, sometimes they don't. There are stumbling blocks, but it's what I'm learning is to keep getting up and keep moving forward and to have people around me to support me on the journey and make sure I'm surrounding others to support them on their journeys. So
Cool. So who wrote your forward?
So what we ended up doing is we did something different. The book was voted the best adult book for high school students
Wow.
by the school library journal. So they did a write up on
Wow.
on the book. So then it went into libraries across the country, which
Wow.
was really special. And my writing partner and I wrote out what we wanted the book to do. We wrote out our intentions, which I always
Hmm.
think is so important. I wrote out the intentions and Tracy and I said, we'd love this book to have people want to adopt children who maybe have wanted to adopt and were afraid.
Wow.
We'd love this book to be used in a university
Hmm.
at some point. We'd love this book to be turned into a movie. And so people came up to me and said, we were thinking about adopting. We weren't sure. Now we're going to adopt. And one of my best friends, Ana Maria Alvarez, and her husband, John Lowe,
Hmm.
read this book. They adopted two little boys who are my godsons.
Wow.
The book is being used in Pepperdine University in their ethnic and identity class. Well, it was being used when it first came out. I have to
Hmm.
check in to see if it's still being used.
Hmm.
And we sold the rights to the book to Disney to turn into a movie. I think there's also so much power inside of even if there are changes, there are new possibilities in writing out your intentions, going after what you want, and having this library journal, love the book, write about it, and then share it with all the libraries across the country. That was really powerful. So, yeah.
Wow. everything that you hope for comes true. I wrote
It's
this.
possible. It really is.
So I wrote this book in the background. I didn't have lofty goals. My goal was to get 15 five-star reviews on Amazon. So far I
Hmm.
have 12, so I can probably work on that. Just kidding. I don't know. I think it's a great experience to write a book. You kind of learn so much in writing the book, and then also you get so many other things done because you don't want to write the book and you clean up your plate, right? Yeah.
Well, I was so blessed to have an incredible writing partner, Tracy Trivis, who
Hmm.
was no joke about staying on task. If it was up to me, the book would never have gotten written because I like go off into different tangents and she's very great at being focused. But you're so right about other things to do. It's so easy to do other things than to get
Right.
the
Yeah.
book done. Yes.
I did my tax returns and so many other things.
Right?
That
You're like,
yeah.
look, I'm going to write a book so I can get all these other things done.
Yeah, right. Cool. Do you have any questions around cybersecurity or
Yeah, well,
personal
it's
or
interesting.
work?
I think
Yeah.
this is
Mhm.
what you mainly do. You do work around cybersecurity and you make sure in your company, is that what it is? Make sure that people are safe through different realms of being hacked and so on.
Yeah.
Yeah,
People don't lose their confidential information. People don't
right.
pay money to hackers who are trying to launch a ransomware attack, or people who use good security to grow their business because it's becoming so essential. Everybody is asking before signing contracts, do you have reasonable security controls or not? So
Right.
we make good.
What got you into this?
What got me into this? I think I read Sherlock Holmes and
I love Sherlock Holmes. Okay, sorry, I
Right.
got very
No,
excited.
that's pretty much it. I was like, yeah, you can't do that, but you can do something else to find out what's going on under the hood and
Mm,
protect people from losing what they have worked so hard to build up.
I love that. So do you mainly work with companies? Do you work with who are your main, I know you can't name names, but who is your clientele?
Yeah, we work with companies of different sizes. So it could be a 50% marketing firm, or it
Mhm.
could be 1,000-person larger organization that has a possibility of getting attacked by cyber criminals. So we work with them on a continuous basis, identify their gaps and remediate them, and then find new gaps and then remediate them. So we are like a change agent in the way
Mhm.
people do things. So a part of our job is begging people to do the change they need to do.
Do you
Our case
find
to
that
render.
have there been a lot more issues over the years? And do you find that you have been able to tackle those and find new ways? Because there are new hacks that are happening all the time. How are you able to troubleshoot to figure out how to not have people get others' information?
Yeah, so a couple of things. One, I feel you have to be a digital minimalist. Sometimes people hold on to
Ah.
old data, old infrastructure. You can back that up and store it in the storage, but doesn't have to be online.
Can
Or
you say more about that? Like, what does that look like? What do you mean backing it up? Where would one put that?
so think about you wear 10 items that are in your closet on a daily basis. I wear only one, but like as an example, if somebody is not wearing some clothes, they can donate it or they can put it in the storage. Because when you keep a large number of items that you do not need in the closet, a thief, when they come in, they can steal all that. So in the digital age, because cost of storage has become minimal, people hang on to sensitive data like social security or date of birth, and a lot of it is legacy data. Hackers steal that information and sell it in the dark web for a fixed price to,
Mm,
yeah. So that's why, health clinics are attacked more because they have all the patient data.
right.
So
Ah,
be a digital minimalist, and also because the field is evolving so much, don't accept that what you did yesterday is still the right way to do things today. So we always hear, we've been doing this for 20 years. Now you want to change it?
It's like, yeah, actually, we have to, you know, we have to change with the times. That's another thing I speak about because if we don't, everything's changing all the time from hacking to we're learning about AI, everything is changing so much.
Yeah, being adaptable and being willing to change. Kind of like,
And change being the access to growth in huge ways.
yeah, exactly. It's both an individual and a company thing wherein you look into things that can be improved upon and then you improve those things. Some people don't want to recognize that. Some companies don't want to recognize that.
And some people are afraid of that kind of change if they have been, for example, like you just said, doing the same thing for 20 years. It's like, wait, this has worked. What do you mean? But the times are changing. You
Right.
know, there's a company that I know who I won't mention was very successful in the blockchain world and they got hacked and it really caused huge issues.
Yeah.
So,
So it
yeah,
can come from complacency, negligence.
yeah,
So that's why we are careful security. We try to be careful all the time.
yeah. Wonderful. Well,
Um,
thank you for what you're doing because we need that.
yes, thank you. Thank you
Hmm.
for bringing us back to our podcast. And, I really appreciate you taking time to do this for us. And, it
Sure.
just shows how big your heart is. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. I know that people coming on podcasts and support it, I think this is my example. Like when we support each other in whatever our journeys are, that's part of being on this planet, as far as I'm concerned. So,
That's awesome.
yeah. Well, thank you for having me.
Pleasure.
It was great talking with you.
Same here. Thank you, Princess Sarah. See
Thank
you later.
you. Bye.
Bye.